All right, we're going to start on page 79. Good morning, Jude. Hi, Aubrey. Okay, 79. All right. I don't know about you guys, but it's just such a busy time of year. It's like I can't catch up on my sleep. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling tired this morning. So um, I feel like I'm not alone in that. But anyway, and then it's not that windy, but it's really bizarre how up here in Tehachapi they've shut down all the schools, but it's windy, but it's just like normal wind for Tehachapi. So anyway, it's weird. That's why I
They
like
shut off our power at our house.
okay. But
It's
you
like really windy up here.
it must be back on because you're here.
No, we have a generator.
Okay. Wow. Well, we haven't had to use our generator yet, so it's good that you guys are equipped to handle that. It's really bizarre. It's like it's just wind. I don't understand why they're shutting off the power for that. But anyway, glad you guys are here. And it's probably true for Kylie because Kylie's up here in Tehachapi too. So she's probably without power, I'm going to guess. Transitional prepositional phrases. So you know about prepositional phrases already. You guys have been underlining those for like the whole year. But now we're talking about transitional prepositional phrases. In week two, you learned that short prepositional openers do not take commas. You also learned that you should not place commas in front of a prepositional phrase. Transitions, however, and here's a new rule, and don't we love English because there's all these rules and some of them don't make sense. But anyway, they do take commas. Therefore, when a prepositional phrase functions as a transition, use commas regardless of where it appears in the sentence. So there's your rule with a giant comma. Place commas around a transitional prepositional phrase. Here are as a list of some prepositional phrases that functions as transitions. And you've seen these before, but in fact, in addition, by the way, by contrast, for example, for instance, of course, on the other hand, place commas around these is basically the rule. Here's your example. This is an opener. That's why they put a two there for a prepositional opener. In fact, Bagheera offered a bull as payment. Bagheera, in fact, offered a bull as payment. Bagheera offered a bull as payment, in fact. So no matter where it is, as you can see here, it's all underlined because they are considered prepositional phrases, but they are considered transitions. So you're transitioning from one thought to another in the sentences. And so these do take commas if it's a transition like that. And we're going to move on down here, prepositional phrase or adverb clause. These words usually begin prepositional phrases. I'm not going to read all these words, but you've seen this list before. In fact, this is the one at the back of your book. If you ever get stuck on prepositional phrases when you're doing your homework, you can look back there. But they bolded words for you that are, let's see, these words usually begin prepositional phrases, and it says these words usually begin adverb clauses. We know the www.asia. That's on the top row. When, while, where, as, since, if, although, because. And then we've got another row. These are also beginning adverb clauses: after, before, until, unless, whenever, whereas, and than. Notice the ones in bold are in both lists. That's what they want you to see. Sometimes they function as a prepositional phrase or an adverb clause. The key to remember is right here in the margin. If it's part of a phrase, you're not going to find a verb. Prepositional phrases do not have verbs, but clauses do. All of them, like the because clause, the who, which clause, that clause, adverb clause, all of the clauses have verbs. So that's the key to look for to determine, is this a phrase or is it a clause? And it's telling you that right here. So jump down here where it says prepositional phrase. As a man's cub, no verb, remember, in that one, Mowgli could remove thorns from paws. And then look at the adverb clause. As he removed the thorn, notice there is a verb, removed. That's actually an action word. As he removed the thorn, Mowgli gained the wolf's trust. So that's how you tell the difference. Even though we're talking about the same word as in both, one has a verb with it and one does not. So that's the difference between prepositional phrases and adverb clauses. Let's keep going. On the back of this, page 80. Hold on, I gotta turn off my heater. Okay, I was really cold, but now I'm not. This is page 80. It says prepositional phrase or adverb clause. Write a prepositional phrase pattern. So you can write this in your book. We just looked at this a second ago on the page before. It's a preposition plus noun. So I'm just going to abbreviate preposition. I'm going to put prep plus noun. That's the pattern. Sometimes it's a pronoun, but that's the basic pattern is prepositional phrase, preposition plus noun. And then the adverb clause is actually the www word. So I'm just going to put www word plus subject. I'm just going to put sub for subject plus verb. Those are the two patterns. We just talked about that, but there you go. You can write it down like that. To determine if a group of words forms a prepositional phrase or an adverb clause, look for a verb. If there is a verb, the words form an adverb clause. If there is not a verb, the words form a prepositional phrase. And they're giving you a little trick right here. Drop the first word of the phrase or clause in question and look at what is left. If it is a sentence, the group of words forms an adverb clause. If it is not a sentence, the group of words forms a prepositional phrase. Right here it says after supper. If I take off, the trick is to drop the first word. So if I just look at supper, that's not a sentence. So that's clearly, it says this does not have a verb, this is a phrase. And then if we drop it here, they ate supper, that has a verb ate, and it is a clause. It's just a trick for you to use. So we're gonna just go through, you guys are to take turns and read the words. It's not a complete sentence. So you're just gonna read the words and you're gonna tell me, is this a phrase or a clause? So I'm gonna start with Matt, if you're there. Read the words here and tell me if it's a phrase or a clause. Are you there, Matt? Okay, how about Alex? Read the words here and tell me if it's a phrase or a clause.
Before the summer moon,
Okay,
and I think it's a phrase because it doesn't have a verb.
very good. That's exactly right. It is a phrase because it doesn't have a verb. How about Jude, the next one? Oops, you're muted.
Clause?
Go ahead and read the words first.
With noble intentions.
Right. And you might think intentions might be a verb, but it's actually not. It's a noun. So knowing that with noble intentions, it does not have a verb. So
Okay.
yeah, so that makes it actually a phrase. That was a little tricky because of that word intentions there. How about the next one, Aubrey?
Since he could succeed, and it's a clause.
That one is a clause because we have could and succeed. Those are both verbs. So that one does have verbs. It's a clause. How about Ian? Read this one. If you're there.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
After Mowgli paced,
This is practiced, actually.
practiced.
There you go.
Is it a clause?
It is a clause. So remember, one trick is you can drop that first word and say Mowgli practiced. Technically, that's still a sentence because you have your subject verb pair. Mowgli practiced. So that's a trick if you get stuck on these. How about we go to Matt? Are you there yet? I don't know where he's at. He's logged in, but I don't see him. How about Alex? Go ahead and try the next one here.
because of his desire. Um,
They're trying to trick you on this one too. If I
a
take off,
clause.
well, if I took off because, actually I would take off because of, it just says his desire. Desire is actually a noun in this sentence, even though it can be if you're desiring something. I desire to eat pizza. That is a verb, but since it's his desire, this is an adjective and then a noun following. It's actually a phrase on that one. Some of these are tricky. How about Jude, the last one?
The sun rose.
Yeah. If I take off when, do we still have a sentence?
I think.
I agree. Yes,
Okay.
the sun rose. So we have a verb rose. So would it be a phrase or a clause?
Clause.
Yes, good. That one is a clause. Those are a little tricky, but that's what you got to look for. Like, really think about it. Some words could be a verb or a noun. That's when it gets a little tricky. So try that trick and just, cross off the first word. We crossed off of because of on this because those go together for a preposition. But let's go on to the practice page on 81.
Laura, I just went to the bathroom. I'm sorry if you called on me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Let me know if you leave because I don't know if you're listening or not. So, because I can't
Okay.
see you in you told me you can't turn your camera down to your face. So I don't know if you're there.
I'm here.
Okay. We're on
And
page.
I can. I'm here. I'll
Okay.
see you.
Okay. 81. Does anybody feel like reading this sentence today? I'll go ahead and read it today. It says, I'm sorry, let me start over. Looking down after a minute, the panther turned away. Although I love you, even me can't hold you intensely gay. Wait, whoa. Can't hold your intensely gaze. This is a weird sentence, I gotta say. We got this. We can do this. There's some things that are wrong with it, and I think that's why I stumbled on it. So I don't blame you for not wanting to read that one. Let's just look at the word intensely, and it just means very strong, like intense. I think we all know what intense means. Intensely gaze. But the way that's worded, intensely, your intensely gaze does not really make sense. Alex, do you know how we could change intensely? How could we make that flow better right there?
Just get rid of the ly.
Yes, get rid of the ly. That's a good idea. Let's just kind of cross just out the ly there. Intense gaze. That sounds better. Good job. That's one of the usages. There's another usage here. I love you, even me can't hold your intense gaze. That sounds weird too, huh? Jude, what do we need to do with me here?
Me.
Yeah, instead of me, it should be something else. I love you, even me can't hold your intense gaze. Even,
He.
no, I think we should say I,
Oh, okay.
because we're talking
I
about
love
I
you.
love you, even I can't hold your intense gaze. It's tricky. This one's a weird one. It's a weird one. But anyway, we got the usage. We checked the vocabulary. We got this, you guys. I'm going to do the fix it row first, or as much as we can from there. Remember, you can always jump around on this list, but let's do the indent. We know that's just a paragraph symbol at the front. 3 capitals, we know that. Beginning, what are we missing? Oh, that's because we have more than one sentence here. Looking down after a minute, the panther turned away. This should not be a period. I mean, a comma. This should be a period because it's a completely different thought that's happening next here. Although I love you, even I can't hold your intense gaze. So we do need to add a period here, which would make although need a capital. So go ahead and fix those things real quick. All right. I'm not sure about the commas yet or quotation marks. End marks, we have one. We can put our end mark here. We can check that one. See how I'm kind of jumping around? We do have an apostrophe we need to put in. Where does the apostrophe go, Aubrey?
On can't.
On can't. Good. So we'll stick that in there. I'm going to come back to the prepositional phrases here. Let's check those main clauses. We found the period. So that's going to be our big clue. So Ian, what are the two main clauses here?
Looking down after a minute.
Okay, now this word looking is an opener,
Oh, after a minute.
and it's going to be the opener is actually going to be looking down after a minute. So the main clause is going to start right here with the.
Oh,
Yeah. So where does that one end?
away.
There you go. And we've got another opener here, so we're not going to count the opener in that one. So where's the
I
other?
can't hold your intense gaze.
You're close. It starts with even. Even
Oh.
I can't hold your intense gaze. It might have been easier if we looked for the other stuff first. What about the adverb clause? Remember, that's the Asia, www.asia. So Matt, what about where's the adverb clause?
Um, um, hold.
No, remember adverb clauses are the Asia words. So we have when, while, where, as, since, if, although, because. So you're looking for one of those words. When, while, where, as, since, if, although, because.
I don't see any.
Okay, Alex, do you see it?
Although I love you.
Although I love you. So we're going to put parentheses around it here and AC for adverb clause. That's the opener. It's an adverb clause. This is actually they're not labeling it as an opener for, I don't know why they're not labeling that. There's only one opener for this. So we got that though. Check that. Let's find the verbs. How about that? So Jude, do you see where the verbs are? There's one, I'll tell you how many there are. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 verbs in here.
Looking?
Looking is one. Or actually, I'm having a hard time this morning, guys. I'm sorry. Looking normally is a verb, but because this is an ing opener, it's one of those, what is it called? We just learned this, a number 4 opener, an ing opener.
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on a second. What is that opener called? Oh my goodness. Does
Not the
anyone?
VSS, is it?
The four ing
Oh.
opener.
It's the ing opener, but what are those called? It's a, hold on.
The number 4 ing opener.
Yes. It's called a participle phrase. Oh my goodness, you guys. I think I need another cup of coffee. It's a participle phrase, even though it looks like a verb. So Jude, you're right. Looking normally would be a verb, but this is a participle because it's ing at the beginning of the sentence. So sorry. So not that one. How about what else do you think?
Sorry, I forgot. It was my turn.
You're looking for verbs. I know. This is a weird lesson. I'll just be glad when we're done with grammar.
Turned?
Yes, that is a verb.
Is away connect to it also or no?
Which one?
Turned away.
Oh no, not away. Just turned.
Love?
Yes, love is a verb.
Hold?
Yes. And then there's a helping verb right next to hold.
You can't or your?
It's actually the can part of can't.
Okay.
Yeah. So can hold, even though it says can't hold. All right, we got through the verbs here. That's good. And then Aubrey, what about the subjects? There's 3 subjects.
Panther,
Panther is one subject.
I,
Good.
and I again.
Good. Yes. So it's a little different because you remember we're done marking nouns and adjectives and adverbs and all that stuff. So it looks a little bit different, but those are the subject verb pairs. We got our opener. It's a participle phrase, ing opener. Now we've got the last thing is a prepositional phrase. So Ian, do you know where that's at? There's only one.
After a minute.
Awesome. Yes, you got it. Phew, man. Got that. We have quotation marks and commas left. So what's throwing me off is it doesn't really say who's talking, right? So we don't really know where the quote is, but I do see the word I in here. So I know somebody's got to be speaking, right? Because that's my clue for that, even though it's not telling us who's actually saying it. So the quote begins with although right here. So go ahead and put quotation marks here all the way to the end. It's what he's saying. Although I love you, even I can't hold your intense gaze. And then we got our quotation marks. We already took out 1 comma, and we have 2 more commas to deal with. So, Matt, I'll give you a clue. The comma usually comes after the opener. So where does the first comma go?
Although, I love you, comma.
Yeah, okay, one goes there. I was looking at the first part of the sentence, but that does work there, yes. And then how about the other comma?
Looking down
Keep going.
after a minute.
Yes. Looking down after a minute, comma, the panther turned away, period. Although I love you, comma, even I can't hold your intense gaze. Well, we made it. Sometimes the lessons are a little hard, but we made it together here. So jump around on your list. I could have jumped around even a little bit more actually to help us out, but does anybody have any questions or do you have any suggestions on how you do the grammar that would help us out or help anybody else out? No? Okay. Well, your grammar is the next 3 pages for homework. Do you want to say something, Matt?
What? I'm sorry, what?
Oh, nothing. I thought you were talking.
No, I'm sorry.
It's okay. All right, go ahead and get your binders out. Let's move on. You guys have been working on the Johannes Gutenberg paper. You should have finished the first paragraph for today. I have not had a chance to start grading that yet, so I will today later. So you should have finished your outline, which is on the big white piece of paper that we started last week. Get mine out so you can see it. So what we're doing now in this unit is summarizing multiple references. And you should have used this like we started last week, where you filled in A, B, and C, and then you took parts and filled in the fused outline. Did everybody get a chance? I know some of you are still working on it. Well, you don't have to tell me. It's okay, because I know who has it and who doesn't. But what we're going to do is move on to the second paragraph. So with your outline here, I want you to just turn it over to the back side. So just flip your page over and we're going to work on the back. And we need to just start setting it up for Roman numeral 2. So go ahead and start by labeling each one of these boxes as A, B, and C. We're going to just set this up like we did on the other side there. And then at the bottom box down here in the middle is the fused outline. So go ahead and write that in. And by the way, this week when you do your homework, I do want you to take a picture of your outline so that I can see you're actually using it. Some students have confessed to me that they don't use this and they just look back on the originals and try to just pull information and put it together. You have to use this outline. This is the really important part of learning this skill because someday you're going to have a big research. I know a couple of you have already told me about a big research paper that you've had to do where you have to have books and online sources and everything and put it together into a summary or a paper about something. This is going to help you. It really, really will. So under A, I want you to write Roman numeral 2 this time. Roman numeral 2, and leave some space. Spread these numbers out a little bit so they're not too scrunched up. 1 through 5. 4 and 5 are in parentheses, meaning you don't have to use those, but they're there in case you find extra information. Okay. Under B, again, Roman numeral 2, 1 through 5. That's under B. And then under C, again, these are all Roman numeral 2, 1 through 5, because what we're working on is just the second paragraph. This is where you got to get out of your head that each one of these is a paragraph, because this whole page is one paragraph. What you're doing is pulling from all the sources. And then your fused goes here. Roman numeral 2, again, because we're focusing on the second paragraph. This is 1 through 6. Spread them out a little bit. And only 6 is in parentheses. So you have to have at least 5 here. And under 6, I just want you to write that word clincher just to remind yourself to do a topic clincher for this paragraph. All right, give me a thumbs up when you got Roman numeral 2, all of those set up. Okay, I see that. Okay.
I got everything.
Okay. Ian, can you have your camera on, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Jude, you good? I didn't see your thumb. Okay, and Aubrey, you good? Okay, looks like everybody's ready. Flip it back over to this side because we're looking at those possible topics, and you're only writing 2 paragraphs for this paper. So this is all you're working on this week is your second paragraph, and then that's it for this research. So you have some choices here. You've got before Gutenberg, you've got the Gutenberg printing system, and then you've got the effects of Gutenberg. Now, my way of choosing the next topic is always which one has the most information. It actually makes it easier to find details when you have the topic that has the most resources with it or the most information with it. And if you look, before Gutenberg only has information in articles A and B, and the effects of Gutenberg is only in articles B and C. But this one here, the printing system, his system is in A, B, and C. So it makes sense to pick the one that has the most information to choose from. It's easier that way. So we're going to choose for this lesson, this one right here, the Gutenberg printing system. And I just want you to write a Roman numeral 2 next to that. We'll write a Roman numeral 1 next to that one, the ancient printing, because that's what your original paragraph was. Your first paragraph was about ancient printing. And now we're going to choose this one because it's in all 3 sources. Does that make sense to you guys? A little easier when you have more information to choose from. So we're going to focus on the Gutenberg printing system. So let's go ahead and flip it back over to Roman numeral 2. And let's just put G printing system. G printing system. And we're going to focus on that for all the Roman numeral twos. G printing system. Go ahead and write that on each one. G printing and system. And G printing system. So your first paragraph is about ancient printing, and now we're going to move into what his printing system was. And I'm going to put a line here because we'll eventually think of something to add to this one on the fused. But for now, we're just going to focus on what was his system. So we already know the ancient system. We talked a little bit about the Chinese, about those wooden little cutouts that they used, the movable type. We talked about that a little bit, Korean and Chinese characters. That was in your first paragraph. So here's what we're going to do. It's kind of handy that these articles are broken down into categories. You see that, these subheadings here. So this is going to help us a lot because basically these subheadings tell us what these paragraphs are about. So we're going to focus on his printing system. So I'm looking at source 10.1 right now. This is 103, page 103. So you should have an A on this article. I'm looking at page 103, but I don't see his system yet. But if you turn it over to the backside, voila. It says Gutenberg's printing system. This is so nice. A lot of times it's not organized as neatly and clearly as this one is, but they're starting you out pretty easy on this. So the information you're going to put under A for Gutenberg printing system is found on page 104 in this paragraph. So let's see what time we got here. Oh, we got some time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just read this paragraph. You guys look for something that's interesting. You're going to need 3 things, maybe 4 and 5 if you have more. So just focus on 3 things that you think are interesting as I read this, underline it, and then we're going to transfer those keywords here. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and read it real quick. It says, Gutenberg's printing system included these components: paper, oil-based ink, his mechanical press, and movable metal type. He had learned about metal by working in his father's goldsmith shop. Gutenberg knew that metal type would make words on a page show clearly. Remember, they used to use wood, the ancient stuff. And so he discovered that metal actually makes it more clear. He made metal molds of each letter of the alphabet. He poured liquid metal into the molds. When the liquid hardened, it formed the pieces called type. Like a child moves ABC blocks around on a table, type could be arranged and rearranged inside a frame. To print, one man coated the type with ink. A second man lowered a sheet of paper over the type. Then a flat wooden plate mechanically pressed the paper down on the type. Text was now on the page. Double-sided printing was possible. Gutenberg could print on parchment, but paper was less expensive. Gutenberg's printing system worked so well that very few improvements were made to it for 400 years afterwards. So there's a lot in this. And like I said, we only need to pick a few. So I'm just going to ask you, and you guys can start working on this on your own, but I'm just going to have us brainstorm together a little bit. I'll start with Matt. What was something that was interesting to you about his printing system that we just read?
Thought it was pretty interesting that he learned about the metals in his father's gold shop.
Yeah, okay,
That's interesting. And what else is here? Let's see.
That's good. I
And
think
that
I think you can stop there and just give that one example. You don't have to give more than one, but that's true.
okay.
He learned about metal from his father's goldsmith shop because that's unique. Not everybody had that opportunity. So we can add that if you like that. If that was an interesting fact to you, go ahead and put it down for number one. If you guys have something different, that's okay too. But your goal is to fill in one, two, and three at least of information that you found interesting in that paragraph using the same rules about our outline, 3 words only. Numbers and symbols and abbreviations are okay. So, Matt, how could we include that fact using only 3 words?
Goldsmith. I put goldsmith, metal, and father.
Okay. I might rearrange those words a little bit, but I do like those words. I'm going to put metal and then father and then goldsmith. To me, that makes a little more sense in that order, but whatever it makes sense to you, Matt, is fine. Okay. And then, Alex, what's something else that stood out to you that was interesting in that paragraph?
Um, he thought he learned that the metal type would make the words on the page clear.
Yes, that's interesting to me too. How would we put that in keyword form here?
Mm, metal type and clearly.
Clearly, or clearer is a word if you want to use that.
And then you can put like a book, I guess.
Okay. Like an open book, maybe. Kind of like that. You guys can probably draw a book better than me, but anyway. Meaning that they could print now on both sides and then it was easier to make books. Okay. How about Jude, when you get a chance, what's something that stood out to you that was interesting?
Or did you call on me?
We could
No, I called on Jude.
Oh, okay.
we could put coated the type with ink.
Okay. Um, the type of ink?
No, the type, like the you can put
Oh,
on paper.
yeah. Okay, so how would you put it in keyword form there?
We could put coated and then put ink and then put like type and then like maybe a little picture of like ABC.
Okay. Coded, type, ink, and then like ABC like that. I thought that was interesting. It was one man. I wonder, I'll try a little stick figure here because I thought that was interesting that it actually takes a person. Nowadays, everything's, totally different. We have machines and robots and stuff like that that does everything. But in these days, they actually had a person standing there with ink. I'm sure the guy had stained hands. I bet he never got the ink out. But anyway, he coated it with ink. So what else stood out to you, Aubrey? I know you don't have to do 4 and 5, but since we're practicing this together, I'm going to have you each take a turn with this. So Aubrey, what do you think? Something else
Give me double-sided printing possible.
Okay, so how would you record that on as keywords here?
I did 1 word.
Let me see. Yeah, it's got a hyphen, so double-sided would be counted as one.
Okay, then double-sided printing possible.
Double-sided printing possible. All right, and then Ian, how about one more interesting fact from that paragraph?
Um, I found it interesting that he used oil-based ink
Yeah, oil-based
instead
ink.
of just
Okay.
regular ink.
Okay. I think that's interesting too. We could just put used because oil-based is a hyphenated word. We can count that as one. Used oil bank based ink instead of water-based. Probably because water-based ink smudges, pretty easily if you have sweaty hands or, if it's humid. But oil-based ink is gonna be a better type or ink to use. All right, so you get the idea. I'm gonna have you guys move on to B next here. B is gonna start on page 105. This should have a B on it for you. And again, you're going to look for the paragraph that talks about the ancient printing system, which is on the back. Now, this one, it talks about how it changed civilization, and you can include some of that in your facts here. So this is page 106. This is where I'm at on the back, where it says how Gutenberg's printing system changed Western civilization. So it's talking about two things here in this paragraph. It's talking about his system and then how it changed Western civilization, which you can include some of those facts as well. So I'm just going to read this paragraph. I'm going to give you a minute. As I'm reading, underline things that stand out to you, and then go ahead and start filling out your keyword outline here for B. It just says Johannes Gutenberg's printing system changed the course of Western civilization. He is one of the most influential persons in world history. Gutenberg's system included paper, movable metal type, ink, oil-based ink, and his mechanical press. His press could turn out copies of a book, many at a time. Okay, so that's kind of interesting because it's talking about the actual press, the system could turn out many books. That is called a print run. Since a book costs less, more people could buy one. After the Gutenberg Bible was printed in 1455, the technology sprang up all over Europe. Printing arrived in Italy in 1464, in France in 1470, in England in 1476, in Sweden in 1483, and Greece in 1515. So it's starting to spread across the world, right? These are different countries that it's coming to. According to historians, I'm not sure that word, Buring and Van Zanden, in charting the rise of the West, during the year 1550 alone, about 3 million books were produced in Western Europe. So back in that time, 1500s, that was a huge thing. 3 million books. Wow. Gutenberg's printing system helped scientists share their discoveries in journals. Thus, new scientific and historic information called the Scientific Revolution continued to spread to Europe. Gutenberg's technology ushered in the Protestant Reformation and the Age of Enlightenment. So these are things that spiritually happened, and a lot because the Bible was printed and shared, that this instigated a big awakening, basically, to more about the world, more about God, more about life, because these books were now being printed and sold. His system would enabled large populations to exchange ideas faster over distances. This phenomenon launched the modern era of human history. No longer were rich persons and men in religious orders the only ones who, I find the last part of that, could access knowledge. This is page 107. Gutenberg's technology allowed a person to think whether information was important to him. Poorer people could afford a book and had a better chance to improve themselves. All right, I'm going to give you guys just a few minutes on your own real quick from that paragraph that we read on page 106 and part of page 107, pull some interesting facts from there and go ahead and start filling out your outline here based on the system, and you can include how it improved or changed Western civilization. So I'll give you a few minutes to work on that. If you have any questions or need help, just let me know. All right, go ahead and finish the one you're working on. You can keep writing if you're still working on it, but I'm just gonna have you guys share one that you wrote. So I'll start this time with Ian. Just pick one that you chose. I wrote down some too here if you want to use any of mine, but see what I want to see what you guys came up with. So Ian, what's one that you found? Or just read one of the numbers that you wrote, one of the keywords. You're muted.
Oh, sorry.
There you
On
go.
B,
On B, yeah. What's one set of keywords that you found for on your outline? Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm asking?
Which page are we on? Are we on 10.2?
yeah, on, I hold on.
And to answer your question, Matt, yes, we're on 10.2, page 106 and part of 107.
Okay.
I put many people could buy books.
Okay, good. How about you, Aubrey? What's one fact that you wrote down?
I put down the fact that the large population could switch ideas faster, but I put large population, then I drew two arrows crossing each other, and then
Okay.
I drew a man running.
Okay, good. That was a good one. How about you, Jude? What's one that you wrote down?
I put the part worth of 3 million books.
Okay, good. How did you actually put it on the outline?
Just basic. I just put 3 million books.
Okay, cool. That's good. Maybe put year. I don't know if you saw how I put it here, but maybe put year because that was in 1 year. That gives you reference on what time frame that was. And then Alex, how about you? What's one fact that you wrote down?
I put that the Gutenberg Bible helped the scientists.
Good. Okay. Yep. And Matt, what's one that you put down?
I have printing Italy 1470 when it came to Italy, the printing came to Italy.
Okay. Okay, good. The last one, source C, that one's going to start on page 109. And here we've got on this page 109, if you look down at the second paragraph, you got this subheading here, Gutenberg's printing system. So this is the paragraph where you will find information for C. So I'm going to go ahead and just read it, and you guys focus on some interesting facts that stand out to you. And then I'm going to have you record it on C. It says, in Germany from about 1436 to 1454, Johannes Gutenberg worked on a printing system with a few new components and a few old components. He knew that movable, reusable metal letters of the alphabet, called type, could be set in a frame and inked. He knew that the mechanical press could apply firm pressure onto the metal type. Paper had been available in Germany since about 1930, and Gutenberg formulated an oil-based ink that would coat the metal type and transfer well to parchment or paper. The result?
1390.
Did I say the wrong word or
You
number?
said 1930.
Whoa, my brain switched it. Thank you. 1390. The results, pages could be printed many at a time, not one at a time. The cost of books decreased. The Gutenberg system involved movable metal type, oil-based ink, paper, and a mechanical press. So one thing I notice is with what we have so far, I don't think we talked about the press part of it yet. So I would think that would be important to include here for C. That press part, it says apply firm pressure. And that's what they used to actually make it like the ink go on the paper was a press. So I think it would be good to, at least in that first one, to put something about mechanical press. And then let's put that for number one. Mechanical press, and then I'm just going to put the word firm there. So when you press on it firmly with the wood, that's what made it go onto the paper. So your homework is going to be to finish up C. Some of the details are going to be the same as what you've already put on other ones. You might have different words to use, but the details are going to be very similar. And then, as I told you last week, you're going to pull a little bit from each of these, from A, maybe one or two from A, one or two from B, one or two from C, or maybe three, wherever you find them, the ones that you like the best. You're not going to do two of the same though, right? You're going to, when you pull it down here to the fused, it's going to be a variety of facts that you're going to list here. It would be wise to think about a logical order in how you're going to write these sentences. How the system was made with metal and with the oil-based ink and with a press. And then maybe if you like these facts, like some of them I came up with here, the age of enlightenment and how the cost was down and anybody could buy books. That's something you would put toward the end of your paragraph, not at the beginning, because you're going to explain what the system is first.
This is gonna go into B, right?
This is going to go not into B because we already did B.
Oh, wait, okay.
It's going to go into C. The article that we just read is going to go here.
Okay.
But then the fused is a mix. That's why we're
Okay.
calling it a
Okay,
fused
okay, I
line.
understand now.
Okay. And this is the one that you use for your paragraph. Good question, though. Does anybody else have any questions about that? So your goal this week is to finish all of these outlines, especially the fused one, and then write your paragraph. And then let's look at your checklist before you go. Page 113. This is how I grade your homework. And by the way, when we get together with your parent for the parent-teacher conferences, we're going to be looking at your grades. So if you didn't get 10 on something, that means you either forgot something or you accidentally used a banned word. So check your grades, check your scores. You can go back and view your work through Google Classroom and see what score you got. If it's anything less than 10, you need to fix something and then send it back in. But don't forget this. These all have to be in there. You've got 6 dress ups here, and you've got 2 sentence openers. You've got your prepositional opener and your ly adverb opener. If you're missing one, I take points off. So make sure you're following this list very, very carefully. When you sit down to the computer and start typing, you need to have this in front of you too. You need to have your fused outline in front of you and your checklist. And then don't forget your banned words, don't use those. And then your topic clincher is still there. So make sure you include your topic clincher. All right, so use your checklist. I can't say that enough because that's how I grade your stuff, you guys. So you want to get 10 points. Your goal is 10 points every single time. All right, that's it for today. Good job. So make sure your parents sign up for the conference, and I'll see you in conference next week, but no class next week. And then we won't have class again like this until after break. So, all right, you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.